good morning. Tutar, everyone. As you can see, this is kind of different from the usual Mafe Cafe. We're usually in the studio, but this time we wanted to bring the studio to where we actually work, get people to see some of the things that we do and the equipments and things that we use on our daily work. Our topic today is about FAT program. So I'm going to introduce our guest, and then they can also, if I missed anything. So I'm Fabio Sixe. I'll be kind of moderating the discussion this morning. And then we have here is Harlan Herman. He's our fisheries extension officer. He works closely with fishers in terms of building or constructing the FATs, maintaining the ice machines, things of that nature. And then we're very fortunate we have our partners from the Nature Conservancy. So we have Dr. Alex Phyllis. He's been working in Palau for quite some time now. I believe it's probably like more than 5 years, right? 10 years, yeah. And then we have Dean Chloe Lat. He's also from TNC. He's the fisheries coordinator. Our viewers from Babaldao probably know him. He works closely with like Ngaramlanguy and then the other states up north. And then we have Roman Mongami. He's our fisheries specialist. He's been with us for maybe over 30 years because he retired and he loved the fisheries so much. He's like, hey, I can still work. So we said, okay, let's put you to work. And so before we begin, I'll just give a short background of why we're doing this and why the FAT program is important. You might have noticed that we have more visitors coming to Palau. That means that there's additional mouth that we have to feed, right? And if we look at how our reef fish is, we probably can't use that or it's not sustainable to feed ourselves and our guests, especially with our visitors, probably like 3 times the population of the island. And there was this initiative, I think it was, probably also like 2017 or 2018. There was this whole campaign around Choose Pelagics. And so if you drive around Koror, you'll see a lot of murals painted by local kids about choosing pelagics and just raising awareness about the different pelagic fish that are available out there. And then that executive order also kind of encourages people to, when we have large gatherings or feeding large crowds, to use pelagic fish. And so that's kind of also part of why we're doing this FAT program. And also, especially to help our local fishers diversify their fishing activities from just fishing reef fish to also targeting pelagic fish. Our FAT program has been probably in the same way or more or all FAT program.
Tel FAT program mal makatagal tokoy. Len sel dirang noa ya FAT program am start. So seguido el time noa director qual sibertalulay. Ngam start ta FAT program.
Igris?
Yeah. Angara seguido el time. En nya ulmo la FAT el time.
Yes, because I think some of the records you have are probably like 87 or something.
Yeah.
Ever since. And then I'm going to model program and just because yung diligan lo resources support the program walang songs But then with the past couple of years, we've actually been able to kind of revive the program, especially with the TNC's help. I know when we first had the FAD strategic plan, the first grant that we had to support our FAD program was from the Nature Conservancy. So from that, amla mo nga right now nga nga 6 FAD, nga Adabeth, nga west, madirik nga east, Moldra southeast. And then we're continuing to start to deploy. So sa momis ngani kaya del takdala father ngani gel ko upcoming. So sa look mo and dagi mo update real maraming deployments. The tell you father direct ngani basic information. So we wanna also ask Alex to kind of discuss or share ngami say the tuna tagging program. And that report direct ko rahil pergi the said identify gel basher ko la father ni ko teatro me the madere ko tuna science. So I understand you did some tuna tagging program around Palau, and you've kind of recommended areas who are suitable for FAD. So can you kind of speak?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's actually my origin story in Palau. How I had the opportunity to come and first work with everybody here was with Pickering. Basically, we were tagging tuna around the FADs to answer the question, which FADs did the tuna spend the most time at? So what that involved was we had a device called an acoustic receiver. It's basically the size of a water bottle, like a large water bottle, and it listens for acoustic noises. And then we would dive down on the FAD, attach it at about 60 feet below the surface, and that thing would constantly listen. And then we went out. I had the help of Melvin Tourbillon at the time and Gary Merck, and our team would go tagging the tuna around the FAD. We would catch the tuna, and then we would surgically implant an acoustic tag, which is basically a small device about the size of a battery, and it would emit a unique signal that whenever it was within range of those receivers attached to the FAD, it would send that signal, and it would record, okay, this fish is here at this date and time. So we basically attached a receiver on every FAD in Palau at the time. This was in 2016, 2017, 2018, that time period. We caught fish around those FADs, and we looked at the movements of tuna around all of Palau's FADs network. And we looked at which FADs would the tuna spend the most time, and very consistently we saw that the FADs that were located in deeper water had the amount of time that a tuna would spend at the FAD increased the deeper the FAD was. So
that means that let's say this is FAD, tuna will stay there a little bit longer.
Yeah, and overall what we did was we calculated like from the first arrival of a fish to its departure. And the FADs that were kind of shallower, like in the 200 meter depth, a fish would show up and then just leave. It would basically just be like passing through. But the FADs in the 1,000 meter mark, we had tuna staying anywhere from 1 day all the way out to a month or two.
So really? Up to a month, huh?
Yeah, and we had and they would kind of course the tuna are moving around, so they kind of ping pong between the different FADs. But the FADs that had the greatest residency rate, we would call it, but the most time the tuna would spend, were always consistently the deeper ones. And so with that information, we made the initial recommendation that for the bureau and and fishers, if we want to maximize the FAD's efficiency, keeping them in that 1,000 meter range would be the recommendation. Now, it's a really fine balance because we have to also take into account the cost of fuel to go out there, safety, And it's not just an exponential, like, how do I say this? The more farther out and the more deeper, the more fish. It's not really like that. It's more just the tuna have a minimum depth requirement where they're comfortable. And if we meet that requirement, they'll spend their time at the fat. If we just continue going out further and further, well, yes, of course the tuna are going to like it and they're going to spend time there, but then your cost of going out there increases too. So I think, you know, the objective of the Bureau's FAD program for Palau's fishers has always been to increase the access to tuna resources and make it so that we can economically fish them, you know. So if we put them too far out, then it kind of defeats the purpose. You can only catch so much fish to cover the field.
Yeah, and I think we have to also kind of consider the types of fishers that we have, the type of, so they usually have like 18 to 23 footer boats, single engine. So it's also kind of about having access to those fishing grounds, but also ensuring that they're safe and that they can fish and then come back.
That's why we came up with the minimum recommendation of like the 1,000-meter mark. And you know, with Mike, our GIS specialist, we were able to get some bathymetry data and identify where that roughly 1,000-meter mark is and say, we don't need to go farther than that, but let's try and target this area, which is typically around 6 miles offshore. On the west side and on the east side, it's a lot closer because we have shallow.
Palau trench, so it's...
What was the depth range for your fats that you were testing?
We had them anywhere from about 200 meters at the time out to about 2,000.
So you hit it.
Yeah, and you know, of course, we had fish. The fish visited all the fats, but it's really cool. Like, you know, you can see them as they're moving between each fat. But typically, the deeper ones definitely.
What were like the fats that kind of like were really
which one
productive?
was popping?
I think at the time that we had, you know, this was maybe almost 8 or 9 years ago now, but the North Mouth fat has historically always been quite good, and that one was kind of in that sweet spot of the depth range, but also in the middle of the fat network, so that one really got a lot of the action. But yeah, so I think that one probably was the best at the time. But that also was the one that was in the right depth and things like that. If we were to redo that study in Palau's fad network, you know, we might see that actually all of them, because now pretty much unless a community is asking for a near-shore submerged fad for kind of coastal pelagics, like, you know, they're pretty much all in that at least 1,000-meter mark.
And you were tagging all sizes and all species of tuna?
Anything we could get. Yeah, but
Anything,
we did see that, you know, of course, the small kind of B-loom size, that spends more time at the fad than the bigger ones.
Yeah.
So we kind of had 2 age classes of fish at the time, like the 6-month-old yellowfin, and then we had the kind of like 1-year size class. So we compared the two groups.
So it's very, I think, looking back, I think our FAT program is kind of like really, it's still developing, but we've come so far. So now we have the science that also helps us determine better where to put the fats. And then I want to also kind of have Roman speak about the history of the fats and how they've kind of we've made some modifications to the structure itself. And so maybe Roman, kamkas mo dilo saying le, kung kami wangara tritila dollar mafad, elang kukla mo wangara ako mesong, elang na mo da kung pay kukla mo beleta.
I see.
Mo me ama.
Ela sera gimkotol ko awa gimolan mafadin ay ka ko awa lo bangkela techniques ra tiragi del kuk kora fishermen gid tirgal ngara ikren me o sa aggregate del tol tia ayab es tol kuk kila amomru mela sera al kotel mo ngul tial tokora fadel me seguida tilil wase ngul mnestar ternya noa seguida mlangis te klol bit sengel el il seguida lulus pe ngil ngara pepengela training ra omengel ra ikrela almol ma tuna edre lulus pe ngil mal ma fal sera gi kotel ma fadel kora me tegi del tokora uriol etial frat programa kora wal lukasen kuk timle taragelu dasel le sola marin di source mesu bringi ko se marang kuk mora tergibil es el tetelela o mangedra tora ikrela almol seguidra al kora lo mu le start el malal mai galfad poloru la fad tamle agotelo mdala waga mlesmenta msel bol itia tial wak en oldimre edermeida wal blol pati ni ko engagement sel itilo oral ga ko ondas ko setia aga bakak to ugim sel por serio en dialo pri lo betia sel oral mo blul serio mal dire el diwar rep tel pebula ut dice obengela pressure sel rich rabaro ma pressure am la pressure ni sel ka sabak rabaro men crack mangdi makasal time en gukrimi den galfan kan gora wal seguidi amle walel ogore sel ragi morura walel en wagim splicer en kalwa ya gim non e guk melas no maga yegi del guk bebira fa del wal dipendra kal resources ergi del wal lukasem lo wal limited del se del guk dir mula fa del di ombri del talbela guk gora mo itira east mo itira west wal lukasem wai seguide mol anti agi uk mol metigri ko se kuduk mo spe adro mo gang se le krag in kalsment di ngar sira adro mo gang ding selgim dal mrais en wal di mre de mi de tiago mal slop mo ai gal dro mo gang uk timo militail mol por sel tiagal mangal ugi di mormi malu ben guk malol guk ko seguid mol el all time guk mol stop seguido modega vilas magistop el alta en guk ngara es el tretelel gal fad magi wagi blabo moru lam dalawa el teking ngwal blabo se be ko sen namos be de mral ma fad diga ma di ultira dol mesel guk pilsenge de se be del kut maklitia klal mo dolmi diga del guk kadmlong al tangat le ngarngar adra huri pingem lokal buse me e guk kulus pertin lo moi trabora ist emlo ome erngil ome rafat kin trigi adra huriping eto guk kulsis aklir ko sa omomak en guk mesisir om splice o el se om splice ko toro clean gal klisi elen galegil mesel om splice ringil molmong agel end am demdem kartel med sam splice ringil des splice ringil am la compact en mom la real egel sa egel endring am la mom demdem ko sel erngela twist en mal lo da igal
ya kora lus mo
ngai se kora lus mungwal
Darer mong
nada engal dimla am trakli am darer mengegil wal mle bangale la splice engegil ya mo uleng matamal ngal fad meng egagil do mesre langa egegil egel ku kwal es tretelel kama maguk mla kut maklim as elal gagid elal gibo mongoy trelanga ngase gid esetetel edi dulu tel kora motat sel logornya alex sel tokora submerse fad se magi direk mirurungi di ulum lo de asambruungi se kora wildlife pilot project tra SPC ya giri dil momrega dimle maknitringia aiga direk dimla gimungil kora educator adra blue mega selgi bomdal mega gal dikmedra adingara 200 mirera del el magidi imor almol di omesra de sounder mon mo 200 dolmi diga maknitringia gimel ay galbu ngil me top dengi da ga masirigi de lo mesringel boy magi magi wara wagi di multop da igal bandera ngarngi maigal gora point ringi dir ada gum das to ku kwa lo lugul bigosen ku ngarngi ga gi de gora disputra almol lo metuk olek tianguk father tianguk perger blal bel tel mim temol mu marada mlo kora kakapos ringi ma ulang gor mo legi stop in malal merengi. Ending segit selwan ramor ang eura. Segit el tire ngara plan ki pomolam ki mo lal merengi ang eura ang eura pa osper ngi.
actually. So nga malal ka sa so nga ning 얘기들 와서 얘기도 다리 tawa tuna mga sige nga 1000 meter mong
Yada.
ako ang era ulit nila dito mo liwek mga play sego kuluro tira o mga rel da suy mga kel sige di nga 200 300 meter they used to fish rainbow runners there so we continue to support that
Of course.
so damla kora we've been able to make the changes to how we construct the fats, how we connect the ropes, trying different anchoring system. I know we've also kind of introduced trying to help us reduce the cost, using like used H beams that we can salvage and cut and use to anchor the fats. And so I think it's still it's still a long way to go, but I think we're kind of moving in the right direction. And then so there's some things behind you. I think part of that is we also want to help fishers be more efficient. Try to help them with the rising cost of fuel, having them run around looking for fish. We have this those instruments at the back. So, how does it work? What is it, and how does it work, and how does it help fishers?
So tianga ego sounder part of program. Can you explain how we get these things and why they're old and they're not new? They're
Sure.
reused.
Yeah,
The project
Well-
recon or
So maybe before you get to that, just explain the
okay.
instrument
This
and then the science that we've
Sure.
kind of did up north, and so why
yeah.
we moved to installing them on all the fats.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Dean, you can jump in here, please fill in, because so I think that, like as Roman and we've all been discussing, there's been a long history of fads in Palau, and we know that they do attract fish, and if there's fish there, our fishers can benefit from them. The issue that the fishers are encountering is that tuna they move around a lot. It's very unpredictable whether they're going to be at the fad. And of course, if you go to the fad and there's fish, you're going to jackpot. And if you go all the way out to the fad and there's nothing, you're going to lose. This is a common issue across the Pacific, and really, I think the Nature Conservancy's desire to be supporting the islands with this technology is to help us. Our objective is really to help the fishers take advantage of pelagic fish because, and you mentioned choose pelagics, they are a much more faster growing sustainable fish than some of our traditional coral reef fisheries. So the idea is not to say don't fish for and arang and karamlao, but fish for them, but sustainably. And when we have the opportunity to fish for tuna because they're there, go and utilize that resource, because that one it's like the tuna is like a rabbit and an is like an elephant. It takes much longer for an to grow to the size of maturity. These tuna already at this size are over almost 6 months old. Here, this is like a year and a half. And so we know that if we can catch the tuna and bring that into market, it's going to be a sustainable food resource. That's why we've supported, in partnership with the Bureau and others, is the Choose Pelagic program and the FAD work. We want to give opportunities for fishermen and to go and use the resource around. That's kind of why we're doing it with everyone. But the issue is that the tuna are moving around a lot. It's very unpredictable. And when we talk to fishers, It's like, yeah, of course we like to catch, but last week we went out and we came back with nothing. So this issue is common across tuna fisheries, and the industrial fisheries have created this device to help solve the problem. So what this is it's an eco-sounder buoy. It's a floating solar-powered buoy that can do a few things. It can track the location of the fad. It can also tell us the biomass of tuna that are underneath it. It estimates it. And then it remotely sends this data to satellites, which then we can access. And so another thing that I would mention is that this helps solves the problem of monitoring the fad. So Roman, you've been doing this longer than all of us. You know, like sometimes we put the fads out and we don't, they break away or we don't know what happened. And so this allows us to track them down and recover them. So we initially piloted this work with the Bureau and the Northern Reef Fisheries Cooperative in Ole. We acquired some of these buoys and we did a test to see, one, could we monitor the fad? Two, would it help fishers improve their catches by having access to the data, are there fish there or not? And so we trialed it with the North. It was really successful, honestly. It helped fishers there predict whether there was tuna or not and just monitor what's happening at the fad. And we can talk about how to access that data. But once we did the pilot in the North with the co-op, and the fishers there were like, oh, this is helping. With the Bureau, the request was to expand this to all of Palau. And now that's what we've done.
So how that happened is we first put it at the North Mafe, and then he's in Hawaii and he looks at the biomass. How did he go check? So we would go. Sometimes it's 4 in the morning and it's still dark and we're going out there, but that's how we. And then he would get the data from our catch, the weight, and then correlate it with the biomass and see, okay, if it says there's fish there, did these guys catch any? But initially we were kind of still learning, because he told us to check it. Let's check, we just scroll it. Because ourselves we were still learning to be fat fishers, but when he came and taught us, hey, there's different methods, and then the data got more accurate. That's how we got that data. Him monitoring and calling us, and then we're going out.
That's a good point too, Dean, because oftentimes there are tuna at the fad, but they like to stay deep. And you can show up to the fad trolling, and troll around, and you're like, there's nothing here. Actually, you're sitting on top of 50 tons of tuna. They're just deep. And this, on the data we get, tells us how deep, and so a lot of times jigging, and this is where we've also been working with you all to do the training, so teaching people how to fish the deeper water, we call it mid-water fishing techniques.
Yeah, it's I think that's another important point to share, because a lot of fishers say, hey, we went to this fad, this is not working. But then if you talk to some of the more, I would say, experienced fishers or fishers that has been doing it for a longer time, if you go and you see their boat, they have trolling rods, they have jigs, they have different fishing methods, and they've figured it out that when you go to the fad, sometimes trolling, the fish will be deeper, so trolling wouldn't really be productive. But if you jig, you fill up your coolers faster.
It's like if you're a mechanic and you go work and you open your toolbox and only screwdriver, right?
Yeah.
What's the wrench?
You solve all you did the wrench and socket wrench and all the other.
It's difficult. So this thing is solar powered, right? And so what are some of the things that we have to be careful, like for our boaters or fishers to be cautious about when they encounter that in the?
First of all, it's They're fairly robust, like you know.
Okay, robusta.
You know, but at the same time, banging on against it, doing that kind of stuff is never good for an electronic device. So basically, what you don't want to do is tamper with it. They're also magnet operated, so any kind of magnetic object near it can shut them off.
Oh yeah, because it's
But essentially, they're solar powered. Here, they're constantly being charged by the sun every day. We can monitor the battery level inside, and it has a GPS device sending signals. It also has a light, so it can be lit up at night for night fishing. You can find the fat at night. And then on the bottom, you can see this is the echo sounder. It's just very similar to a fish finder. What it's doing is that it's floating behind the fat, constantly sending a signal down to look for the biomass of tuna. And you know, the way a fish finder works is it's sending the sound signal through the water.
and bounce off.
It bounces off the swim bladder of the fish. And so what it does, there's an algorithm, you know, a computer model that takes the data from the sounder, estimates the size and quantity of fish and the depth of them based on the interference from their swim bladders.
I've kind of looked at the system and then so how accurate you can kind of see. So yeah, it'll show you different size classes, but then also the different species. Is that accurate?
I think there's still
Fairly accurate?
Yeah, it's fairly accurate, but there's still a lot of research being done. Now every fish has a different swim bladder, so they can kind of tell based on.
Oh, so that's how they're able to tell if it's yellowfin or skipjack. Arusel domes tel software ngaram siri de loti etia arusel size ngaya gre claw nga skipjack yellowfin tuna big eye.
It has a specific signal, like the mark of the swim bladder, because it's a certain shape, shows up on the sounder in that particular shape, and the computer, it's amazing technology, can estimate what it is. It's not perfect, obviously, but also, you know, if you have a fish that's this big, its swim bladder might only be this big, right? If you have tuna that are this big down there, they have a much bigger swim bladder, so that's how it's able to kind of determine size class, and then from that, estimate the total weight of fish underneath in the school.
So going back to, so this is, you were saying that this was initially used by...
It's used by the purse seine industry, because if you think about it, you know, we're supporting small-scale fishers. The issue for small-scale fishers is, you know, we need to know if there's fish out there, so if it's the cost benefit of our fuel to go get them. This same issue on a huge scale, right, from a purse seine vessel, you know, their fuel bill is like $10,000 a day instead of 100, right, or 200. So they have the same issue that we do, is that they are trying to find fish and maximize their efficiency with fuel and catch. And so the idea was, you know, around us across the Pacific, this technology is being used to help the industrial fishery. Why can't we put that same technology in the hands of the local fishers that are here in Palau and provide that, you know?
So they use like drifting fats, right? And they'll attach it to the drifting fat, but here so we don't use drifting fats, but anchored fats, and we've used this to attach it to the anchor fats, which brings me to, I think our listeners are kind of keen to know how actually all of this works. So I will just ask Harlan. Kamara smodite alfabet claro. Ngara mospet lagal mo me agumes sangarin gai del sounder megel ugi. So amara ngura alel sen morun galfa del morte del parte nungal.
So sige lugar nga Roman ra before losses. Sa logotos tata o sa tayo de project trial and graph to amne tame sa wadro mugang management. En el buk mlam bombru ang kay del tegal river taking. Vogara omra lo siste idel gora tetere el hook. Idel el tor arsumong ngara slope el tor sim tara kraba ngara ngor godi. So river social wala lagi wa ospe a river amal mering pol ligi di terong mong sel gatte idel melera tekking belud take time. Directa osiga materials. Lagi magote tekking sel after lagi mawa ugi gagi momes orange gagi del yellow. Ol nga dortin el orange or madortin el yellow. Sige dia mo giru la gora loop el tegi del motiu terengar wa Alex ma adra TNC tegi del ego fa someday. That's pretty much it. So basically it takes us about a week. Sometimes you could say a week. So in 4 days I'm complete teringin di sige del after o tegi del mo deployment. For the more tuira weather ma you know. Yeah. Of course mo obadori 8-footer el deploy. So gidi ulagi gora ospera ungil weather.
Gumlo dula sinking rope, ma floating rope. So ngal fara aling el anchor system rim. You were talking about now using rebars. You guys weld it yourself. We were able to look through Dean's connections, and we were able to connect us with the CAT team. So CAT team, like it's a good
So
partner. They've been able to construct some of the
fabricate
anchors.
eight.
So they did 14, and then that team, they rotate every 6 months. So they left, and they were like, we're not sure if the next team has a welder. Luckily, it's Air Force, and they do have a welder.
They have a welder.
So they're going to keep. So I met with them already, and they continue banging them out.
What I loved about that was like, Roman developed this
Yeah,
design,
yeah.
and it's a really, the issue that we've had is like, how do we keep making anchors that we can locally produce for inexpensive, but also that are going to be light, but efficient with the holding power.
Yeah.
Roman comes up with this design that's like bending rebar, welding, looks like a ninja's grappling hook, but huge. Yeah. And then we're like, and it is a lot of work to make them. We, Dean was like, oh, CAT team. All right, okay. We went over there and talked to the lieutenant, and he was like, absolutely, let's do it.
So that's we really appreciate the CAT team's effort in helping us, because that's a lot of heavy work. Those rebars are like
easy. It's not
an
easy.
inch in diameter, and so you gotta cut them and weld them together. But so the FAT consists of an anchor system, and then it's floating rope. That's like what, 2,000, depending on the day, probably like 2,000 meters of rope, a floating rope. And then after the floating rope will be the sinking rope. So that helps us avoid any boating accidents. You don't want to get caught on the rope.
Get tangled with
So that's why the top is a floating rope, or a sinking rope, until it connects to the.
You can kind of see the overall design on the poster there.
Yeah, I think this is. So this is the anchor system. It's a floating rope up, and then here's the sinking rope, so that it won't come to the surface. The floating system, and then this is the echo sounder that is connected to the floats. So while we're on this part, probably either one of you guys explain how fishers can access this platform or the information that's on that system. I know that you guys kind of you printed QR code stickers. You also made these posters that we put at docks.
So we have as you can see on that poster, there's that QR code, and when you scan that, it'll bring it to the website. And then we'll bring more stickers and just put them at your office or
because the
stores.
Man, we not sold out, but we were out of stickers in like a second. So a lot of fishers have like pelican
Pelicans.
cases like yours, and so they'll put them on
Like the smaller
their
size.
pelicans around their console, and so we were like getting asked a lot.
Garrett Pickrick put it in his car. On the side of the car.
Should I go fishing or should I?
Yeah, there you go.
Roman has one.
Yeah, that's a good size.
But you need internet access
Oh, yeah, that's the.
to.
So before you go fishing, you should
Yeah.
check it.
You check it, and the way it looks is you get there's a echo sounder icon there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you click on it, and then you'll see the biomass of 3 days. And then you look if is the biomass increasing or decreasing. And then that's how you chat should you go or not.
Sige, dam wala auspe ring it kasi sel obong ya kakarenti or.
Yeah, because as Alex was saying, the tuna they go there and then they leave. So you're trying to track that residency. So if it's increasing, and then average what 3 days?
You know, it depends. It can be like up to a week.
A week or a
Yeah.
month, yeah.
You set up to
Yeah.
a month.
But you scan that QR code and then it'll bring you to the website, and then you'll see a map of like Palau, FSM, RMI, because these things are being used in the region in Micronesia. So if you open it and it's in the Marshalls, you just kind of scan all the way to Palau, and then you'll see the fats that are in Palau, and then you click on it, and then that's when you can access GPS location, the echo sounder data, and all of this.
It even has some weather report, like how big the swell is.
The
and
swells
how
are-
big it is.
Also, that also helps. Like
Yeah,
if there's
it's
fish,
safe.
but it's safe. So probably we wouldn't want to use the word residency. They're probably there. They want to stay here for quite a while, but let's say
Temporary.
let's say they're like
Visa.
visitors.
Yeah,
They're like visitors, and these flats are like hotels that they go
yeah,
stay for a bit, couple of days to I don't know, like a month.
yeah.
There's food there, so they eat and they stay there.
I can, you know, one of the theories about why everyone's like, why do tuna stay at the fat? You know, and actually, what's very interesting about it, of course, they'll eat near the fat if there's food.
Yeah.
But most of the tuna, if you clean them and you look inside and fish near the fat, are going to have an empty stomach. The question is, why are they at the fat to begin with? And this is what the leading hypothesis is, it's more of a meeting point. So, you know, tuna, we all see them out in the ocean with the birds and the bait ball, and they're chasing the bait, and they're making it come to the surface, and the birds are, right?
Yeah.
If
Just
you're
a feeding
alone,
frenzy.
one tuna cannot
Do
get
that.
all that together.
Gather
They need a school
More,
and
yeah.
numbers to effectively hunt and corral the bait. Now, how do you make a big school of fish if you're out in the middle of nowhere or floating in the pelagic? You get lost. You know when they say if you get lost in the woods, you stay put. So what the FAD does, and why any kind of floating object can attract a fish, is we believe basically that, you know, it makes noise, the waves lapping over the buoys or the log or whatever floating object it is, and then you have shrimps growing and clams and mussels and small fish hiding. They're all making noise, and they probably have a smell too. And this helps tuna find it, we believe, and then once they're there, they wait, and the numbers build. Once, and we see this very clearly, if I plot the data from the biomass of the fish at the fat, the amount of fish at the fat, you see it'll build, and then it just all goes away.
So they've built the numbers, so they're going hunting.
Exactly. And it also provides them, the idea of safety in numbers too.
Yeah.
So now if you're going to go out in the ocean looking and you have a marlin around, if you're one tuna, you're done, right? If you have 1,000 tuna, you have a good chance of surviving. So we're not really sure. There's a lot of hypotheses. It's either that, you know, and they both make sense. Safety in numbers, efficiency of hunting in numbers. And the most easiest way to form that gang or posse or whatever you want to call it in school is to hang out at the fat. And then everybody can come they get it. They're feeling good. Okay, let's go. Boom, so you go hunting. So, you know, what we're training, and Dean is in the trainings that we do, is teaching fishers how to interpret that data, because you want to see the building up. You know, like Dean said, the website gives you 3-day summary of whether there's fish at the fat. And so when you see a period of building of fish, you know, increasing, that's when you want to go. If you see, 2 days ago there was a lot and now there's less, it means that the school's already moving on and your chances of success are lower. So we've been training people how to kind of use this knowledge to improve their fishing success.
So basically, a fisher will just scan the QR code. It will take us to the platform,
To the website.
and then if the fish has, you know, aggregated enough, so basically you go to analysis mode, right?
Yeah.
And then click on the sounder, and then it'll show you this
Biomass.
type of by showing you the graph or the number, different colors,
Yeah.
right?
So the way that once you click on sounder analysis, it's going to first show you all the fads in the array, and they'll be color coded based on whether there's fish or not, or less or more. So if it's clear, the fad icon is just a clear circle, it means that there's actually no fish underneath it. If it's green, it means there's some fish underneath it.
And
If it's yellow, it's kind of like actually quite a bit. And if it's red, it means it's loaded with fish. And once you click on that icon, then you can get more information. There's a little eco sounder symbol that you can click on. And it's going to open up that 3-day summary. It's going to show you based on the time of day and depth how much estimated tons of tuna are at the fat. So again, green is a little bit, yellow, red.
So I'm going through this while we're talking. They father ngara seltribel ngara bilis. That's been red for. I checked it yesterday. It was red.
Yeah.
It's red today. It's probably a good time to go out
We
fishing,
shouldn't be
right?
talking, we should be fishing, right?
We shouldn't be. Nice. So this basically, helps fishers. Okay, looking at the fats on the west, east, it's green. Looking on the fats on the west, particularly the one near Belize, it's been red for 2 days, 3 days. I should go out.
And the idea is that you can, you know, I know QR codes are kind of a new thing, but basically this it's just that square. You scan it with your phone as if you're going to take a picture. You click on it, it takes you straight to the website. You don't have to type in fads or whatever.
Yeah,
www.com.
manager, blah blah blah.
So it just takes you straight to the website, and you can check this before you go fishing to get an idea if there's any fish there, which direction you should go, but also the weather, because oftentimes the fad could have a lot of fish, but it might just be too rough. It's not worth it.
So it'll show you if there's fish, and then the fad has also some slacks will be moving, right?
Moving around.
So it'll also show us the current location,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's actually had multiple benefits. One, if you want to get up early and get out there we all know that first light, the tunas are at the surface feeding, and you have the best success catching them. So that first hour of the day, 2 hours, you can really catch, let's say, half your fish in a couple hours. So with this, you can just get the GPS location of the fad, put it in your phone or your GPS, go straight there. More efficient, not searching. Sometimes they're hard to see. The other thing is that we've had fads do break. They're not, we're putting something in the ocean that is not, it could never be permanent. right? The rope can snap, the shackles can go. So we've been able to recover them and monitor, like, okay, if the fad breaks off, we can go get it and find out why. And it's helped us improve the deployments. And, thanks to, really, the Northern Reef Fisheries Cooperative, Hadley really helped us, and you guys, the Bureau, everybody. It's been a team effort where when these fads break away, we go get them. And we found out, oh, shoot, this one was hit by a ship. This one had braided line all over it. Looks like it might have cut the line. It's helped us answer some questions that we never really knew why they broke off. They just stripped away.
And then debunk some myths.
Yeah.
Whenever a fad is missing, oh, they
So
probably came and carried those guys from.
So you're also a
From the other
mythbusters.
state.
We got a couple of MacGyvers and mythbusters. And
All of them have been really deep.
Yeah, there's no way. Most of the fads that we've recovered, the cuts have been down in the 200-meter range or even more.
yeah, and,
We
So-
know it's not Roman's knot. He ties a good knot. So
Yeah.
it's really good.
it's really good that we're also, when we're able to retrieve them, we also send photos to Ian at SPC. They're also doing some kind of like CSI thing with this. It's really also trying to help us identify like the main perpetrators, why this happens, and to try and improve our FAD systems. Then you also mentioned partnership, and I think that's really good to highlight, because so here at the Bureau of Fisheries, really there's a handful of people that work on FADs, and the distance from our office to like the other FADs, up all the way up north or all the way south, and so we really also depend on the partnership of fishers and fishing cooperatives, fisher groups. I know that we got into an agreement with Northern Reef Fisheries Cooperative that they also help us retrieve these fats if they're ever broken off. And so there's some that's, for example, like the one for Ngart Mau, we're going to reuse that floating part to deploy the fat Ngart Mau again. So those are just some of the examples of how we collaborate and how we use science and technology and partnership to really develop our fat fishing or our fat program. So here at the with our fat program, it's not just only deploying fats, but it also includes training of fishers. We're planning we've been approached by fishers from Angar that we're going to deploy their fats, and it includes fat fishing techniques. Though they've been doing it, but I think there's some younger generation that are interested, and so we're going to do that. We also, the one for Ngramulongoy, we deploy the fat, and we were planning on carrying out a training with them, so it's just a matter of them getting ready. We're also in the midst of developing a fat fishing class, or actually a fishing class with some of the local high schools. It'll include like the traditional fishing practices all the way to fat fishing. So that's we hopefully we can get that rolling probably mid-April to maybe like May, and then we'll pilot that and see how it goes, and then we can expand it to include other high schools. And then exciting news for the fishers. I know they've kind of been waiting for a while, but we've got 2 fats here ready. Actually, 3 fats here ready. And so maybe you guys, what's the plan with or the time frame with these fats? I know they're ready, but now it's just waiting on the weather.
Yes, waiting on the weather, and what tomorrow we're deploying, Roman?
Sa deplorable ako.
Yeah.
If it's there's a high surf advisory, so if it's all good, probably it's a good. We'll be good to go tomorrow. If not, it's next week. It's but yeah, the fats are ready, right?
They're ready. They just need to be.
It'll be Markmao and then IRI. But the IRI, we're going to be meeting with IRI fishers this evening just to really kind of go into this is the right location before, so we can either add the rope or before we deploy it. But we're looking at
Area.
towards the end of this week or next week. Then of course Angar, Lilio is also we've been approached and it's been gone for a couple of years now.
That was an excellent fad.
Yeah.
Back when we did the original study, Palau was one of
Good.
The more productive fats.
it was
Yeah, we just went to Pelilio I think last month and fishers that were also asking. It's again, we're really limited in terms of actual bodies to do the work, and so we're supporting like fats up north and south, and so it's just coordinating and trying to find the right time for everyone.
I think it's like it really highlights the importance of teamwork, and honestly, with the bureau, TNC, the different fisheries groups, cooperatives, it's all of our responsibility to help maintain this program. You know, when we see something wrong with the fad, we gotta let, and you know, of course, the whole issue of tying up to fads and things like that. It's a lot of work for the bureau to deploy. It's hard to get the materials, the funding, so it's up to the fishers to really be responsible on the use of the fad too.
Yeah, I think that's some of the best practices or like responsible things to do there. I know I've heard some fishers complain when they see other fishers. It's just like, hey, why do you just see me coming and just cross, go across the fishers? So probably we have to work on that. Like, something we have to look for to develop, including like mooring to the fats. I know we've had some issues or complaints with mooring with the fats. You think you can moor it, but then you have to consider the float, and then now your boat is basically an additional float. So
Lift up the anchor
and
break
drag
the
it around.
tackles.
so that leads to some problems. And then, like we said, we're doing this for the fishers, and so we really want to encourage the good and safe use of fat so that fishers can continue to kind of benefit from them. Is there anything you guys want to say?
No, I just want to say this is just another tool. Some people, they look at trees and be like, oh, this fish. This is kind of like those. Don't go get a loan and say, they have this thing now, so I'm going to get a loan. This is another tool. We kind of talk about how you have to explore the different fishing methods, combine that with this, also the timing. You go there at noon, maybe a little bit too late.
Yep.
So there's, and then the idea is if people can kind of connect these different things, and then, we just don't want to put this thing out that people go there and be like, hey, I went there and there's nothing.
No, I think we got to emphasize fishing, right?
Yeah, it's not catching. Or farming, or you just go get the. There's.
Good point, Gene. Just because you have a tool doesn't mean you know how to use it. That's what we're trying to do in these trainings.
And just really helping, try to improve our chances when we go fishing.
I will say, when we first piloted this, the patience and willingness to learn with the co-op, and we did a lot of trial and error, and it ultimately, on average, I think it will help improve your success. But fishing is fishing, like you said.
At the end of the day, we're still fishing.
Yeah, I think that's also. So we're doing our part, supporting the fishers with these tools and trainings. I think another issue that we have to kind of look at is actually having fishers go fish the fats, because I know there's probably only a handful of people that actually
Hindi there's
go
time.
out and fish. And then you see the number of tourists coming in and the demand for pelagic fish. I think that's a huge opportunity for our fishers as well. So
And then I just want to say, we talked about partnership, working with Roman and Arvai that was here before, and now Harlan. I learned so much from these guys. You know, from splicing rope to, I just learned something today. Well, the concrete go there and the pressure and it cracks. That's it. You know, I learned a lot of things from here, so I'm really grateful. And we're able to partner up into this kind of work.
Well, I just want to say I've been with the Bureau for almost 2 years. So, I'm still learning and I'm still observing as much as I can from Roman before he retires, and also you and Dean. So, yeah, I'm just, I'm looking forward for the future.
yeah, I think we have a great team. Like we have a fisher slash scientist.
Yeah.
A great. He's really good with networking and connecting us.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the, he's
We're
the
good at
connection.
carrying things. I can
Yeah.
carry things.
And then we have this wealth of knowledge with Roman. We have Harlan, he's still learning, but he's great. He's very active, and so he really gets the thing going. So I think we have a great team here, and there's more looking forward to more great things with the FAST program. And,
No, the collaboration and the team is just, we're all here to help all these fisheries. So we're working together on this.
Right?
Ale to kadi mo do ela kora sesel ku kora di bloklat kel mora blul kire la igal claro. Kal fad pro sel dollar meringi igual kloklela al bebé le mot makil ma blu mo dimploring. Din dia al belu la mut kwase mo diplora apo lo ngela blu mo kloktel sel blu mo wa lo ropra mo del adel mora yerni. O gire del medengil kwase gire del mora rogul adro omget le maknit terni sel o mo ngro raad en tomella boy. Seguida le tomella boy mo maknit tergi rogul. Seguida agora di la plat que gire seguida ku togora aguk partnership with material state kwase dia bom owner boy le ngi do le mringa dia opo owner ngi diwai ngal boy. O se silta me ngal fada ulgo do mru ngi ngal tlel ngal tlel ta claro awal dilbiar kwar ngabar del wase tianga wal du kwase ulang mem udlangi di ser omara erni ngire mel busu gra tlel telo moel menggal claro el tiu terni mendire el waisi kire momdu lo spe erni kwase tela klo ngire el ngarafal magula rangi la kwak plol ngi el waisi siro de Alex maknit regida other pela magi ser etiu klo ke so del morai ya bodo gida la bodo lita kim gida mo o guk mora elom de mraigel wild del ngigel dir murt del bol stop ngire del lore del morsegid kola di segid sergu kola di gamentra na so al mora adra blu kwase seguida gire del mogor ki kringil togol kwase dial gire melo ngaram dala blu men dial gire melo ngro mo mokra adel gire la o mengeder tegid tora.
Yeah, I think that's a great point also. And so, because we always say that, so the fats are for fishers. So if we deploy it in like a certain state, yes, you probably have to get a fishing permit to fish there. But we wouldn't say that stop fishers from, let's say, other states to come and fish in another state. Because it's, so the fats are for all fishers. Just encourage each other to use it respectively, and it doesn't. These are actually from the national government supporting fishers. It's not no particular state actually owns the fat. It's actually a property of the national government, and so we encourage people to use them and access them equally. And then, but if let's say along state or Kayang, they do have a fisher's permit, If you want to fish there, you have to get a fishing permit.
Tirak lala ra balu.
Yeah, but they wouldn't necessarily stop you from using the fat. And then, yeah, he brought up a good point that it's going fishing. It's not, like going to get clams or something that it's just going to be there and not going anywhere. So you gotta fish when the fish are biting. So I think we gotta go when it's red. All right, thank you guys. I think it's been a great. This is probably one of the good podcasts we've had.
I mean, if only can bring all the fishers to Japan and they see how fun. There's tons of fish there, right? It's not a Tiao aggregation site where, if a bunch of boats come, maybe we run out. This is tons, right?
Yeah.
These 27, 29 footers cannot get tons of tuna.
Yeah.
So in Japan, they would go to a pond and be like, "Hey, there's the sui here." They communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking for this fish. Okay,
Call
there's one
everybody.
here."
Yes. Yeah.
And they help each other, and
With them,
it's a different
yeah.
mentality. Like in reef, you hide your spots, because it makes sense. It's gonna run out. Outside the reef, you should tell your hey, let's all come and get this fish. And
Kangilang yung regera, ngilura, bilisra ist.
Kubang rawest.
I had that in the roof mentality until I went to Japan, and I was like, oh, yeah, this you gotta.
Yeah, I mean it's. We just came back from the WCPFC meeting, and they showed us the data. I mean, our tuna fishery is probably one of the most sustainable. We're not overfishing it. It's very stable.
Yeah.
Actually, for us, we're utilizing the resources.
Yeah. That's why really we're encouraging this fishery because one, there's a huge demand for it. We cannot flood the market. At the amount of fishers we have in Palau, like we can't catch enough fish to feed the local population and the tourism right now. So we're really trying to create this as an opportunity for the fishers to provide that and make a living off of it. So just diversifying the resources.
Yeah.
We're never going to replace reef fish, but we can at least, reduce
Save the reef fish for
Reduce.
ourselves.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You
Export the lachi. Keep the reef
Palauans
fish.
know how good those fish are. Why give it away for
Yeah.
nothing? Yeah. And people are happy to eat too. It's delicious. So.
Good.